But for now, let's cross live to London and catch up with former Foreign Minister Alexander Downer. Thanks for joining us, Alexander. I want to come to matters in the UK in a moment. But first up, I've got to get your thoughts on these reports that Anthony Albanese has been warned not to arrive in Beijing in his RAF jet, that the Chinese security agencies will be looking to hack that plane and its communications and defence systems. Now, I travelled into China with you a number of times. We had to be careful about what we said and did on our phones, of course, but this is a whole new level. Does it surprise you at all?
It does surprise me, and possibly it's a bit extreme. It would be a huge act of aggression for the Chinese to attack the Prime Minister's plane in that way, and I'm not sure whether they would do that or not, but look, I mean, ultimately, the intelligence agencies, ATO, the Defence Signals Directorate, they've got to make the judgments about these things and about what could happen. But I'd be surprised if there was anything to it. I mean, I think it's a good thing he's going to China, and I hope his mission there is successful, and he doesn't concede any ground on the part of Australia in terms of our national interest and our national values.
Yeah, that's a key thing, that it goes well without any concessions, either up front or secretly. We'll keep an eye on that. Let's go back to the UK and talk about Rishi Sunak, the Conservative Prime Minister, and these words that he said this week.
It also shouldn't be controversial for parents to know what their children are being taught in school about relationships. Patients should know when hospitals are talking about men or women. And we shouldn't get bullied. And we shouldn't get bullied into believing that people can be any sex they want to be. They can't. A man is a man and a woman is a woman. That's just common sense.
Well, Alexander, as he said, this shouldn't be a controversial thing to say, but in 2023 it is. What's the reaction been like?
I mean, I blame the media for focusing on a tiny number of extremists who, challenge this notion that you are born a man or born a woman, and say that your biological birth is one question, but your gender is a matter of choice. I mean, it clearly defies common sense, and most people know that. But there has been a lot of publicity about it over the last year or so in the UK, and there's been some in Australia. And the reason Rishi Sunak is getting stuck into it is to say, well, look, I am the Prime Minister of the UK, and I am the standard bearer of common sense and reality, and I defy all these sort of identity politics slogans and absurd notions which have been given a lot of publicity and are promoted through social science faculties in a number of universities.
Yeah, it's good to see him fighting back against the sort of woke wave, I suppose, and people will welcome that, especially traditional Conservative voters. But what about cigarettes? He's going to war against cigarettes in a pretty woke style, a way that the left would surely applaud.
That's true. He's adopted the New Zealand system of eventually, I mean, phasing over a long period of time as people age, phasing out cigarette smoking altogether, banning people of a certain age from buying cigarettes. I'm actually not sure that it would be so much unpopular, but I do think it's a fairly liberal measure. So there'll be a number of people in the Conservative Party who will vote against it when the time comes. But having said that, Rishi Sunak has suddenly energised the Conservative Party and Conservatives with a whole raft of new policies which are grounded in this whole concept of reality and practicality, and offering solutions answers, if you like, to questions. So there is a question about why so many people every year die from lung cancer, and the answer is to stop people smoking. Well, we've all had in our countries programs to discourage smoking. Well, he's taken it one step further, one step too far for libertarians, it's true, but one step further.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that goes, and I hope you've checked that you can still get hold of a decent cigar every now and then, Alexander. Thanks for joining us.